Hello and welcome to the Premier Cooperative 2020 Crop Tour. This is Darren Wax and I will be your presenter today as we discuss and analyze the results from this year's tour. First off, we'd like to acknowledge the Premier team members who helped us organize and collect all of the data to make this possible. Thanks to Zach Weaver, Tom Billman, Tanner Saltzgaver, Mike Bush, Shane Dreyer, John Flavin, Lane Avenatti, Eddie Hannigan, Brandon Smith, Rich Thomas, Lena Stepp, and anyone else who helped out. I'd also like to add a thanks to Jessica Kozak. She put in countless hours compiling these numbers and putting this presentation together. We'd also like to thank all of the farmers who kindly volunteered their time to help us collect these samples. Without their help, none of this would have been possible. Now let's get into the data. Starting with some crop tour facts. This year our team collected samples at 369 different fields across the area, counting a total of 1,107 ears to compile these results. The ear count ranges anywhere from 21,000 to 41,000 ears per acre, with the average coming in at 31,000 ears per acre. 71% of these fields had populations between 30,000 and 36,000. 5% had populations above 36,000, and 24% had populations below 30,000 plants per acre. This variation in population was mostly a product of the tough planting conditions we saw this spring. If we look at the yield ranges among all of the fields that were scouted, we see that 180 fields, or 49% of the fields that we scouted, yielded less than 200 bushels per acre. 161, or 44% of the fields scouted, yielded between 200 and 250 bushels per acre, and 28, or just 7% of the fields, yielded more than 250 bushels per acre. The lowest yielding field that was scouted was in the Philo area. It came in at 105 bushels per acre. This was in an area that had very extensive hail damage around pollination time. The highest yielding sample was found in the Gifford area, came in at 290 bushels per acre. I want to note that we used 90,000 kernels as our divider this year to find our yield numbers. I know there's some disagreement out there about what number is best to divide by. So here's a look at how the yield would change had we used a different kernel count. At 90,000 kernels, our area averaged 203 bushels per acre. At 95,000 kernels, that would equate to 190 bushels per acre. At 85,000 kernels, we would see 213 bushel per acre. And at 80,000 kernels, the yield would be 225 bushel per acre. If you look at that chart on the right-hand side, Tanner put this together and he sorted through all the data to show how population affected total yield across all samples. At a glance, you can see that you can expect the highest yields at 41,000 population in 20-inch rows, and you would see your maximum efficiency at a population of 36,000 in 30-inch rows. So feel free to reach out to Tanner or anybody on the farm marketing team if you'd like to go more in depth looking at this chart. Moving on, let's get into the total results by location. Starting from the top, Bonneville coming in at 178 bushel per acre. That's up 5 bushels from last year. Broadlands is at 222, down 6% from last year, but 14 bushel better than the 8-year average. Yields in Collison were up 43 bushels from 2019 at 189 bushel per acre. Dewey coming in at 184, is up 16% from last year and 7 bushel better than the 8-year average. With an impressive 70 bushel increase from 2019, Dillsburg coming in at 225 bushel per acre. Elliott at 188 is 10 bushel above the 8-year average. Yields around the Ellis elevator improved by 41% this year, coming in at 181. In 2019, this area had the lowest yield, which was 128. Fisher yields came in at 188, just 1 bushel shy of their 8-year average. Gifford showed the most improvement over last year, up 71 bushels at 230 bushel per acre. That is a 45% increase from 2019. This is the first year we have results coming from Mahomet. Those results came in at 191 bushel per acre. Indianola yield is 195. That's down 5% from last year. At 206 bushel per acre, Isedale results came in 20 bushel below the 2019 yield. Results from Jamaica were 211 bushel per acre. That's 14 bushel better than their 8-year average. Leverett is at 206, which is down 11% on the year. Philo saw the largest decrease in yield this year, coming in at 191. That's down 48 bushels from their 2019 yield. Again, much of that loss is attributed to hail damage and wind damage in that area. The yield for the Rising and Galesville areas came in at 216 bushel per acre, up 26 bushels from last year. Rossville yields increased by 9% from 2019, coming in at 198. At 197, Royal saw a healthy 49 bushel increase from last year. That's 10 bushel better than the 8-year average. Doris matched their 2019 yields, coming in again at 215 bushel per acre. Sydney brought in the highest yield average at 231 bushel per acre. That's 2 bushels better than last year. The area around our Foals elevator yielded 228 bushels, which is a 6% increase on the year. At 195, Thomasboro yield came in just 1 bushel shy of their 8-year average. Rounding out the list in Tolono, results came in at 217 bushel per acre. The total yield average for this year's crop tour was 203 bushels per acre. That's up 16 bushels on the year and 9 bushels better than our 8-year average. Again, these results were calculated using 90,000 kernels as the divider, and the samples we obtained were believed to be the best representation of the field that they came from. Taking a look at this chart, Bob Carlson put this together and dug a little deeper into the data that we have to provide a more analytical look at the numbers we've collected over the years. The green boxes here show you yields that are recorded above the 8-year average, and as you can see, with a few exceptions, most of this year's numbers came in above our average. Just a couple of comments here from those who were out in the field that collected these samples. In Dewey, they saw some variable conditions throughout the area and a lot of replanted acres. The Dillsburg area saw some wind damage and some tip back. Lots of late planted and replanted acres around the Elliott area, and the same near Leverett. Fisher had a considerable amount of June planted corn. Riley had areas with weak populations and replanted acres. Royal had some variable conditions, some healthy plants, but also some blanks. Thomasboro had kind of a mixed bag of early planted and late planted acres and some areas of green snap issues. I'd also like to add that in my region there was some wide swaths of hail damage stretching from near Urbana to all the way down near Broadlands area, and that impacted yields in the Philo and Sydney areas. Here we'll take a look at some of the variability that we saw in ear sizes, and you'll notice that tip back was a factor in many of these locations. You see there the Mahomet picture, and then also some tip back there in pictures from Ivesdale. Just a couple of final notes as I start to wrap this up. Again, we want to give everyone a thanks who volunteered their time to help us gather samples. We wouldn't have been able to do this without all of your help, and it really means a lot to us that our farmers want to be involved with the co-op. Don't forget, if you're not signed up already, to go to our website, fill out the form, be added to our monthly farm marketing newsletter. We put those out monthly, and usually have 2 or 3 good articles in there with solid marketing information. We also invite you to follow us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. Our Twitter handle is @PremierCoop. My personal Twitter handle is @PremierCoopWax. I try to post market news at least once a day. We also have a YouTube channel with all of Doug Kropp's morning comments, our marketing meetings, and presentations like this one. And with that, I'd like to say, on behalf of all of us at Premier Cooperative, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your business, and we hope that all of you have a safe and fruitful harvest.